I'm Stefan Steiner. My guest today is Samuel Müller, CEO and co-founder of Scandit. Welcome, Samuel. Please tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Samuel Mueller, the CEO of Scandit. At Scandit, what we do is we empower everyday superheroes, which means we're teaching the cameras of different types of devices, smart devices, drones, robots, or even cameras that exist throughout the retail store to understand what's going on. So frontline staff can make better decisions, take the right actions at the right time. And these individuals, as well as consumers, can go on with their days in a happier, more productive way.
Thank you for this introduction. It all started with a Venture Lab semester course at university level in 2008, then called MiraSense. Your claim was shop, share, and compare. Please tell us more.
Yeah, at the time, we started as a really deep tech platform with a computer vision capability to detect barcode and different types of patterns on labels that you would find on product packaging across a retail store, for example. So one of the first use cases that we were launching was a mobile shopping companion that would be able to do price checks, provide ratings and reviews for shoppers to make better decisions when they're out and about in stores. And they would really have those Amazon style ratings and reviews at their fingertips. So they know what to buy and which items to leave on the shelf. So that's what we started with and what really gave rise to a lot of inbound interest, not just in this specific application, but a lot of other developers would reach out to us because they wanted to get access to the ability to read barcodes and ultimately understand what's in those images that come through mobile phone cameras, and many other use cases would follow since.
Did this international interest also came from your roadshow to Boston with the venture leaders that you did in 2010?
Well, back in 2010, I mean, we really got three types of benefits from participating in the Venture Leaders program in Boston. First, the ability to be exposed and fully immersed in the US startup market at the time when the mobile app economy was just taking off was priceless. It really allowed us to calibrate our thinking, to home in on our narrative, on the type and how you would want to pitch a solution and a company and technology such as the one we had. So that was really helpful. Second, of course, by attending the Venture Leaders program and similar programs, we also got connected with local experts, with subject matter experts, consultants that would allow us to get a better understanding of best practices on how to enter the US market, what things to watch out for when setting up an entity, what things not to do from a tax perspective, and so on. So lots of sort of valuable practical advice. And then thirdly, we also got connected with our fellow venture leader participants, and many of these connections hold on to this day. So that was a great side effect as well.
That's what you hear quite often, that the entrepreneurs still are in touch, and it was a great batch back in 2010 at that time. So what would you say is the impact that's still lasting until today beyond these boundaries with the other founders?
So again, I think we managed to establish a first foothold back in those days in the US market from our venture leader participation. We went on to attend the startup camp, the US startup camp in Silicon Valley, which was another stepping stone for us to start to acquire first customers, establish early relationships with Silicon Valley and US-based investors and key ecosystem partners, which during those days, while being locally on the ground, we managed to establish and start to nurture.
You mentioned the US, the expansion there. What is the hardest or most rewarding part of building a team across different countries and cultures?
Well, I think building the right team always takes a systematic approach. So that's no different here. I think what's more complicated when you do that with the intention of building a team in a foreign market is first, you're kind of starting from scratch. So you have to think a bit harder about what types of people you're looking for. You have to calibrate with the cultural center of that target market. People operate slightly differently. They have different types of styles and perceptions. So you have to bake that into your approach to hiring and identifying talent. And then, of course, once you bring people on board, you still need to establish a set of common principles to, of course, pay attention to the types of values you pay attention to, as you would with any regular hire. But now you have to do that and keep doing that, keep refining that with a team that may be 9 hours or 6 hours apart from a time zone difference perspective, with people who have a different local context that is constantly impressing on them. So you need to build a rhythm and a cadence around this to kind of constantly come together again, whether in person or sort of more in spirit, to make sure that you're staying aligned on that joint vision, the mission, and ultimately the business objectives that you're looking to drive.
So if you would restart, what is your key lesson from scaling internationally for now an aspiring young entrepreneur that you would teach them?
Once you've hit that product market fit moment and things start to feel really good and start to become truly repeatable, we followed 5 distinct growth vectors in our global expansion. First, we expanded geographically. So we would take the product that worked in one geographic market and start to adapt it and then sell it into a new region or sub-region. Second, we expanded vertically or sub-vertically. At first, we went from retail, say, to last mile logistics, and we started to better understand the sub-verticals within those verticals as well to better target the specific needs of those market participants. Third, we started to expand alongside the customer vector. So finding ways to upsell and cross-sell within large enterprises is something we started to develop a capability for. Of course, while doing so, we also optimized and constantly refined the way we package, price our solutions to not just deliver, but also capture an appropriate amount of value. Fourth, we not only started to add more capabilities to our product and our initial product offering, but then over time, we also started to add entire new product lines to our portfolio, to our emerging portfolio of products, which could capture and create more value within those same geographies, verticals, and customer sets that we had established. And then fifth, we started to develop new complementary and in certain cases more efficient routes to market that would allow us to reach certain market segments more effectively and complement what we already had in place. So those 5 vectors, I would say, are quite timeless, and obviously they need to be refined in any given context. They can all be accelerated and improved with the current AI capabilities that are rapidly emerging, but as a framework, that would still hold true.
Excellent. 5 tips for young entrepreneurs. Let's talk about money. You have raised more than 200 million from top investors, among them Google Ventures. And I know you've been very early on also in San Francisco. You mentioned it before. Was that your magic sauce, or how you convinced international investors?
Well, I think first of all, in order to convince international investors and really any investors, I think you need obviously a significant problem or opportunity to go after, a highly differentiated product. I think you have to have something that is your true magic sauce, or something that's not easy to replicate and can get people excited, not just about the opportunity, but also about the defensibility of what you're building towards. And then, of course, you need a clear plan, a great team that's really inspired about that plan and the mission behind it. So I'd say if that's all in place, then yes, clearly exposing yourself in a broader market ecosystem, engaging with an international investor base can only help calibrate, get a better sense for what people are looking for, the specific requirements that they're ideally hoping to find within a target organization for them to make a positive investment decision. That clarity, getting very sharp around which investors are desirable for what you're doing and what you're aspiring to achieve based on their returns profile, the stage that they're focused on, the area of expertise that they can add to your cause, ultimately, I think is another set of things that you want to clarify. And then thirdly, I think it's also about taking a systematic approach to fundraising. So understanding how to first maybe optimize and refine your pitch by speaking to a few key people, whether these are investors or others who have done this before, embed that feedback. Second, being very conscious about who your dream partners or investors would be and why, and telling that to those people as you go and pitch. So get them really excited about your cause. And thirdly, I think it's always good to have a few options be in place should something go wrong. So that, I think, is always helpful also to have strong confidence in your approach.
So these are all advices we teach the young entrepreneurs. Obviously, having a scalable business model, the perfect team and execution, but still not many get all these tier one investors as you got for Scandit. What is the secret sauce, or how have you been able to get, for example, Google Ventures investing into Scandit?
So I think that there is not so much magic there, and I think I have a lot of respect for many of the great businesses out there. I think some of it comes from having a large enough funnel, going after enough potential targets, right? Not limiting yourself to here's the 3 parties and only those could be great partners. I think if you establish the right target list, a clear funnel mechanics that you keep in mind as you engage with these parties, then of course it also takes resilience and open mind to learn and adapt your pitch, your approach, to articulate your story. And none of that works and sticks from day one. So those things, I mean, you have to keep up as well. And then, as in many other ways, I think you want to shoot for the stars, sort of to land, or you want to like shoot for the moon, that is, to land within the stars. I think like really aiming high is something that is also helpful, I would say.
We are celebrating this year 20 years of Venture Leaders. Scandit is also almost 20 years in the making. What's next for your company and for yourself?
Um, well, I mean, for us, we keep getting up in the morning driven by a big mission, really, and a big vision, and that is to empower everyday superheroes with vision AI solutions. We've been doing this for the past really almost 20 years, not just since we've founded the business. And we remain excited about this big mission. We see so much opportunity in the market to build on what we've accomplished. We think there is a huge opportunity to accelerate vision AI adoption across retail, which we've really established as such a big stronghold for us. We see opportunities to expand across the vertical axis and really fully deliver on that vision. And that keeps us busy for the years to come.
My last question would be, you mentioned AI. So what is your advice for a young student graduating today from university?
Yeah. Well, there's lots of advice. I mean, I'd say my core advice is always, I mean, you've got a great opportunity ahead, right? We're probably living in maybe one of the biggest technological um, sort of changes that are happening in the market. So this is a huge opportunity. As any change, there is lots of opportunity. There is change that people will have to adopt. But especially as you're coming out of university, you have a clean slate. The world is open, and there is never a better moment to lean in and take some risks, try things out, look at what's working, what's not working, something that excites you, something that annoys you, and get to work and solve those problems. And I think the rest comes from there. So I think it's great to lean in and follow your passion where you have that, because when you build a business, it's about you'll be investing a lot of energy and attention into that. So it's important, I think, that whatever you do it with joy, with love, and with passion. And then I think, especially in an environment like now, there is so much opportunity to capture and do what feels right for you.
That's a great closing of our talk. Samuel, thank you very much for your time and for sharing your insights. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise. Thanks so much for having me.